What a great video suggestion by Alan. Thank you for this. My opinion on an advanced venomous snake species. Now, the ones you named, top contenders. But before I even bring a snake out, one that doesn't really fall into this category in my opinion, but just so I can have one out while we're talking. These are my opinions, all situational. Every time I talk about stuff like this, it's situational. Each animal has a different personality. That goes with snakes too. So the species I bring up, there can be calm ones, there can be psychotic ones. And again, I'm a professional, don't attempt. But let's get to it. Subscribe as well. Click that bell too. I drop so many videos. Now the snake I have out for this video, this beautiful, massive albino monocle cobra. Now, like I said, this one doesn't, in my opinion, fall into that category of top tier, advanced venomous snake species. They can be a handful, but when compared to things like the forest cobra, the one that has a notorious bad reputation, known to be one of the hardest cobra species to handle. Now, my experience in the past has been very good with forest cobras. Very laid back, very calm. The one that I have, little on the nervous side. And it's very similar to one that you brought up, another African species, the black mamba. Now, the reason they're on another level compared to, let's say, these Asian cobras and even the African cobras. The forest cobra, very nervous. The one that I do have can be sitting like this right now and then just flip over very quickly, a lot quicker than I've noticed any other cobra. And if you don't react and maneuver in the right way, situations can happen. You know, snakes will let you get away with a lot. So even if you make mistakes, they'll tend to let you get away with things. But there's a chance that something bad can happen. So when it flips around, if I don't do the right thing, it can cause a problem. And another thing, like I said, very nervous, very quick. They'll also wrap their tail around you. And if you allow it to get to that point and it turns to you and you don't react calmly in the right way, if you start panicking, it's going to cause a snake to panic, and then more likely you will get a defensive response. That's the same with the black mamba. Both the nervousness, the alertness, and very quick movements. Very quick. And again, the tail wrapped around with the black mamba as well. So, another situation too with that. There's been times I've opened the enclosure for the forest cobra and it shoots out. Now it's on the ground. It's panicking. Every time I'm trying to hook it, it's turning around with mouth open quickly. So I had to wait, even though it's knocking over stuff, going all over the room, had to wait for the right opportunity to grab it. And that's definitely a heart-pumping moment and annoying moment. Now, you named some vipers too. Now, let's just take out the black mamba, the forest cobra. Compared to those, not the vipers you brought up, or just in general actually, the vipers very hard to handle compared to cobras. Now, what I mean by that is the worst case scenario, very defensive and wiggly. A viper that's very defensive and wiggly, much more difficult, in my opinion. A large one, not small ones. Small, medium-sized ones, no problem. The large ones are the issue. For instance, with a big viper, if I'm holding a big rattlesnake like this and it coils up and looks at you, when it coils up, it's either bringing the hook close to or it's coming off the hook and now it's coiled up right here. You're within strike range. Again, you got to know know what to do in the right moment in order to avoid mistakes from happening. Because the snake's just defending itself. But yeah, big vipers, in my opinion, very difficult compared to elapids. That's not including the forest cobra and mamba. Now with mambas, I only have experience feeding a black mamba. I don't have experience handling one. But the one that was at my job was very laid back. Watched my boss handle him many times before he passed away. So that's not the typical mamba, or it's not the experience you think of when you think of black mambas in the worst case scenario. But the fer-de-lance, and actually even many of the large South American vipers that are very defensive, boy, they strike like crazy. And again, being a large viper and having that long strike range, very difficult. Those are top tier. I only have experience with Bothrops atrox. Not as big as some of the other ones. I have no experience with Bushmaster, so I don't even know what the temperament of Bushmaster is, but I do know that they have crazy feed response. They lock onto you with those heat pits, and I can see how, or I can assume based on my experience with large rattlesnakes, that can be very difficult to deal with when they're locked on, especially if they're defensive. But even the food response, and a food response bite, that'd be worse to take because then they are going to inject venom. So yeah, this was all over the place, but it was one take. I'm just going to use this. Hopefully, Alan, this was up to your standards. I appreciate you leaving this suggestion. But yeah, out of the lapids, in my experience so far, forest cobras, top tier. Black mambas just based on friends' experiences and everything. That one isn't based on my experience. Based on my experience, large vipers, that large is in 5 feet or more. Very difficult if they're defensive and nervous. But yeah, love you all. Leave more video suggestions. The whole point of what I do, I want to put videos out that you want to see. That's the whole point of what I do. So when I'm just doing things on my own, I feel like I repeat myself and do the same things. So yeah, please leave video suggestions and I will get to them as soon as possible. This one, the video suggestion was just left and I'm already filming it. Love you all. Subscribe. Again, click the bell, click like, do all those things. See you soon.